Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Tower. First and foremost, happy Easter to everyone. I hope you are enjoying the holidays. So this video is quite an impromptu video, and it's a response video to a comment by Casey Dillon. So I'll put the comment up. First and foremost, I think thank you very much, Casey, for all your kind words. You have commented on so many of my videos, and you're always very supportive with your words. So thank you very much for that. Okay, so your comment pertains to Golden Tower duration, and you wanted to understand how or why duration is important and how it fits into the overall coin farming of your tower. So let me do my best to try to explain what I know about Golden Tower. Bear in mind that in almost every video that I upload, there is at least one factual inaccuracy. It's not by choice, it's just that I often overlook certain things. So just take what I say with a pinch of salt, but hopefully it provides you with an understanding of why Golden Tower duration may or may not be important for your stage of progression in the game. Okay, so for a start, let's just look at Golden Tower in isolation and ignore Golden Tower Plus for the time being. And let's just see what Golden Tower does. So basically, it turns your tower golden. Nobody cares about that. Basically, it just gives you more coin. During this period of activation, at least based on the stats that I have, I'm getting 30.93 times cash and coins from enemy kills. My Golden Tower lasts for a duration of 1 minute and 8 seconds, and it has a cooldown of 1 minute and 28 seconds. Because I run with the Multiverse nexus in my farming runs, what the Multiverse nexus does is it makes my Black Hole, Golden Tower, and Death Wave activate at the same time. And given the substats that I have, the cooldown on each of this becomes 65 seconds. So that's the bare bones of Golden Tower, right? And let's hop into the Multiverse Nexus calculator for the next portion. Right, so we are here in the Multiverse Nexus calculator from the tower.tools. Now what we can see is that I've input all my stats for the Multiverse Nexus calculator. This is assuming that I'm running with a Galaxy Compressor at Ancestral level and a Multiverse Nexus at Ancestral level. I also have a Golden Tower cooldown stat and a Death Wave cooldown stat, but I do not have a Black Hole cooldown stat. Now, as we can see over here, at Golden Tower, for my Golden Tower, with a duration of 43 seconds in total, under Ancestral Galaxy Compressor and Ancestral Multiverse Nexus, it's saying that I would have permanent uptime on my Golden Tower. And I think this is the first point that is important to note. So what it means when you have permanent uptime on your Golden Tower, it just means that whatever enemy that enters your screen and you kill it, you benefit from that 30 times coin multiplier that you are supposed to receive from enemies. Now, before you get to the Golden Tower stage of the GT Plus stage of the game, this is entirely sufficient, because what it means is that if you're running like Ancestral MVN and Ancestral Galaxy Compressor, every enemy that enters your screen is going to benefit from this bonus of coins that you get. Now, Casey, you mentioned that you are running a Devo strategy. So with a Devo strategy, it's not a blanket style where every Devo player is the same. We are all at different stages of progression. If you are a Devo player that you already have permanent uptime on Golden Tower And as over here, you can see permanent uptime on your black hole. Maybe I should change this to 30 because mine is actually at 40. No, right, mine is at 32 seconds, yes. So now I've got permanent uptime on golden tower and black hole. This might not necessarily be the case for you. If it isn't, that's alright. At some point you will get to this stage of progression. But what matters at this stage would be, well, if we think about how we generate coin from our tower, the first bonus comes from golden tower. On top of that, black hole gives extra coin bonuses. On top of that, death wave gives extra coin bonuses, and spotlight as well. Now we can't really control spotlight. It's just rotating and doing its thing. So for all intents and purposes, we just leave that out of consideration. As long as our golden tower and black hole are maxed and giving us permanent uptime, then basically every enemy is going to benefit from the GT bonus as well as the black hole bonus. Now with death wave, as you can see over here, it is not a permanent uptime for me. And with the new death wave cooldowns, we can actually get it to 50 seconds cooldown, in which case it becomes permanent for me in the case where I'm running Galaxy Compressor. But I'm not at that stage of progression yet. So for my case, it's about 85% of enemies that benefit from the death wave coin bonus or cell bonus. Right, so that is the first thing to note, Casey. In your question, you mentioned that from a Devo player's perspective, is it necessary, or would I suggest going higher than permanent uptime on golden tower at your stage? As a Devo player, it's not that important. The duration of golden tower really starts to shine when we get into golden tower plus. And so what I hope to do for the rest of this video is to at least convince you why that is the case. Right, so we are back at my tower, and what you would notice on the left hand side of my screen over here is this number that keeps ticking up. It will tick up for a while, and then at some point it will go back down to 0. And then I get this golden combo bonus over here. Okay, so this is Golden Tower Plus. It's coming from the Ultimate Weapon Plus version of Golden Tower. And what this counter does is it gives you an additional, in my case, 0.33% of coins raised to the power of enemies that I've killed. So this number over here is the number of enemies that have died to my tower for the duration of my golden tower. So your question, Casey, was talking about why is it that I got my golden tower duration up to 68 seconds. It's not a magic number. Ideally, I would like to max out this duration. It's just that I'm quite stone starved like everyone else in the game, so mine is currently sitting at 68 seconds. But what I can do is to convince you why the duration actually matters for the purposes of golden combo. And I'm afraid that the only way that I can go about doing that is to get a bit technical with a little bit of statistics. So I hope you don't mind that. I hope that, you know, it doesn't bring back bad memories of learning statistics in high school or something. Okay, so how does spawn rates work in this game? Well, if we have a look over here, currently you will see that there is active enemies, and then there is this thing called spawn rate. Now, currently my spawn rate is sitting at 56, and this is the maximum spawn rate of the game. So for most people, if you are not at the stage of card masteries, the spawn rate of an enemy will gradually increase over the course of the run, and it will cap at 56, and that happens at wave 6500. But because I am running the card mastery called Wave Accelerator Mastery, I think, it's the one that makes enemies spawn faster. So at max level, it maxes out at wave 3250 for me. Now, that is not very important. What matters is this thing called the spawn rate. So how does this spawn rate works? Well, every 1/8 of a second in this game, the game will run a true or false check. Okay, and the true or false check is basically saying that, well, we will assign a value of 1 if an enemy spawns, and we will assign a value of 0 if no enemy spawns. The probability of which an enemy spawns is going to be 56%, and the probability of which no enemy spawns is 0.44 or 44%. And this thing happens every 1/8 of a second in game time. So what we essentially have is that 8 times a second, the game runs this check. Okay? And each of these draws, they are independent from the next, which means that if in this 1/8 of a second no enemy comes out, it does not affect the probability of which an enemy spawns or does not spawn in the next 1/8 of a second. And so what that means is that if we notice this wave timer and wave cooldown over here, with a wave timer of 26 seconds, for 26 seconds, at a rate of 8 times per second, the game will decide whether an enemy pops out or not. And after that 26 seconds is over, the wave will go into a cooldown, and for 4 seconds, no enemies will spawn. And then the next wave happens, and the process just repeats itself. Now, because of the true or false nature of this way of the enemies being spawned, there is a type of distribution that this kind of random variable follows. So the random variable is called a Bernoulli random variable, and over the course of a given duration of time, it's going to, the sequence of Bernoulli random variables is going to have a distribution according to the binomial distribution. Now, and the binomial distribution is a discrete distribution, very difficult to work with in my opinion, but in large enough sample sizes, it's going to approximate what's called a normal distribution. And we also know how to compute the mean and the variance of that random variable. So let me hop into a graphing calculator and just show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so we are here in the graphing calculator, and as I mentioned before, because my golden tower duration is at a total of 68 seconds, so I'm just going to write it here. My duration equals to 68 seconds. Okay, and every wave has 26 seconds of enemy spawns and then 4 seconds of cooldown. So during this duration of 68 seconds that I have, I go through 2 waves, and on the third wave I get 8 seconds of golden tower activation in total. So the first wave takes 30 seconds, second wave 30 seconds, and then the last wave, the third wave, the remaining 8 seconds of golden tower that I have. So this gives me a total time where enemies can spawn. It's going to be a total of 60 seconds. SECONDS, yeah. And the time where no enemies spawn, that's going to be 8 seconds. Okay, so bearing in mind that when enemies can spawn, they spawn at a rate of 8 times a second. So over the course of 60 seconds, my total enemies that I can get is going to be 60 times 8, yeah, which is going to be 480. Okay. Now on top of that, Actually, you know what? Let's just do the bare bones calculation. Let's not factor into account the enemy balance and stuff. It's going to throw off the mathematics a little bit. So over the course of this 60 seconds, I can get a maximum of 480 enemies. However, the probability of which an enemy can spawn is going to be 56% or 0.56, which means that the probability that no enemy spawn is going to be 44%. Now, if we just use the normal distribution approximation, the distribution of enemies that I can potentially get in this 60 seconds is going to have a mean of 480 times 0.56, okay, so 268.8 enemies, and a variance of 480 times 0.56 times 0.44. Okay, now these are just some statistical results. It's not really important, but what that means basically is that on average I would be getting 268.8 enemies every 60 seconds. So this is where it is at, and if I were to apply some probability to that, I can take 268.8 minus 2.33 times the square root of 118.272. Okay, and this is going to give me a confidence interval. So I'm going to do that with the positive root as well. Okay, and this should be a plus. Okay, so this range over here, this is with a 99% probability. The mean of my distribution is going to be, well, the mean of my distribution is the mean of my distribution. There is no doubt about that. So it's going to be at 268.8 enemies. It's going to have a variance because the spawn rate is not deterministic, and with a 99% probability, the total number of enemies that would spawn in the span of 60 seconds is going to lie between 243.46 enemies to 294.14 enemies. And this is basically what it's saying. So now, why is it that we want higher duration for Golden Tower, for Golden Tower Plus? So the way Golden Tower Plus works is that at my current level, remember I've got a 0.33% bonus that is applied per enemy that I killed. This would be the resulting function of how it's supposed to look like. Okay, so 1.0033 raised to the power of x. This is going to be my coin multiplier for any enemies that I receive. And as you can see over here, it's going to have a value of about 2.42 on average. Now, of course, because this is an exponential type of function, if I were to scroll out, you can see that at larger quantities, this function is going to have a much steeper slope, which means that the value of which each additional kill that I make, the value that it brings goes up at an increasing rate. Okay, and so the goal of increasing my overall duration is to try to shift these three lines over here to the right, and the idea is that I get on average more enemies for each time my Golden Tower is active, and even though I'm experiencing some variance in the number of enemies that I can get, that overall distribution is going to shift towards the right. And so that is why Golden Tower duration is important when you get to the Golden Tower Plus stage of things. Now, this is just a rudimentary understanding of how the GT counter is going to work. At max level, GT is going to give us 1.0045. So you can see that if I were to zoom in over here, basically investing into your GT Plus is going to shift the blue line up towards the green line. Okay, and so regardless of the number of kills that you have, you are going to get higher multipliers. Okay, we are back in the game. I'm sorry you had to watch all of that. It's for all intents and purposes, that is not necessary to know in order to be able to do well in this game, right? The short answer to your question, Casey, is that before you go into GT Plus, just having permanent uptime in your Golden Tower is going to be more than sufficient, because even though you are running a Devo sync, if your Golden Tower is permanent, you don't have to worry about when your Golden Tower is activated, because it's always activated. But when you get into GT Plus, then having additional duration is going to make it a lot stronger. So as you can see from earlier, even though I mentioned that the mean of my distribution was something like 270 enemies, currently I'm getting like 520-ish, and that's all just coming from like your enemy balance card over here. Oops. Your enemy balance card, which increases the enemy spawn each wave. It's also coming from the fact that elites will spawn. It's dependent on the total number of scatters that you kill, the protectors that you kill. There's a lot of different factors that could potentially affect this counter over here. But the main point is that if we increase our Golden Tower duration, then for each cycle of Golden Tower that is being activated, we get this number a lot higher. And if you were to have a look at my overall coins, a large portion of the coin is coming from Golden Tower Plus. So as of now, I'm at 1.89Q. But if we have a look at where I'm getting my coins from, where do I look for my coins? Oh, there it is. So coins from Deathwave, 155T. Coins from Golden Tower, 275T. Coins from Black Hole also about there. Coins from Spotlight, 100-ish trillion. So about half of my coins currently is just coming from having Golden Tower Plus, or maybe more than half. Maybe 3/4 of my coins coming from Golden Tower Plus. I can't do arithmetic, I'm sorry. Now this therefore makes Golden Tower combos, or your golden combos, extremely valuable in your coin generation. And so that's why we invest in Golden Tower duration as we move into GT Plus gameplay. Right, so that is the content for today's video. Oh, look at that, I finished at rank 2. That's amazing. So I was entirely certain that I would not. Like, look at this guy, he's got wave 2400 in tier 18. He should be ranking higher than I am. My only guess is that Shichi over here probably didn't have the substat that I went out of my way for, this 10 seconds chrono field duration. So this is definitely helped a lot when we get that battle condition, which reduces the ultimate weapon durations. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, so hopefully, Casey, that addresses your question. Do let me know if there's anything that you would like me to go over in more detail. But otherwise, have a great weekend, anyone. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.